Laura Conroy from Glam Slam Productions here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today for our brushing up on basic braids. Today we're going to go over a few tips and tricks onto how to get your braids nice, tight, with more tension, and to alleviate getting lost in a braid or making messy braids. We're going to learn the difference between French braids, Dutch braids, and then we're going to go into a few techniques onto how to add hair, colorful hair, into braids, which could also be translated to ribbons or pearls or anything that you would like to do. And then we're going to go over a few tips and tricks into how to do really pretty updos, super simple, really quick by using braids. Okay, so let's just go over really quickly very basic braiding. We're talking about a 3-strand braid today, and 3-strand braids are done by taking the end section and wrapping over the center and alternating back and forth. Okay, so I know we are all familiar with that. By nature, we will always choose one technique. We would either take the hair and go over, creating a French braid, and when you connect that to the head, the braid will be shown underneath. Or we will naturally braid with the strands alternating going under, and when you connect that to the head, the braid will be shown on top of the head. Okay, as we showed before. French braid, that's going over, and Dutch braid going under. So a lot of times we start the braids, and I find when I am doing braid-a-thons with the stylist, I find that they get lost. You know, that they'll get the two pieces, and I experienced the same situation. And then all of a sudden they're looking and they realize that they lost their place. One way that somebody shared with me is to do the braid. When you're going to do a braid, take the sections, break it into 3, and once you put the hair over, start your braid, and then start to connect. Then add the hair from the head. It really helps you to stay focused, to stay on task, and not get lost in the braid. It also helps you to have more control. You could make it tighter or looser because you're really placing your hands right on the head, and it's giving you more tension. So you can make the braids looser. So, to continue, put the braid over, put the section over, and then grab some hair from the head and add it. Then alternate with the other section, put the braid over, and then add from the head. Again, put the middle strand over, and then add some hair from the head. And it really helps you to connect it to the head really nicely, nice and neat. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video and start doing the braid however you like to do it, whether you naturally go overhanded or underhanded. And try a technique and see, are you happy with how your braid is? Do you think it could be a little bit neater? And then if you're having difficulty, try this technique and add the hair from the head once you've already placed your top piece over. So this is the French braid, and just keep adding hair. Now, if it's messy or you're getting frustrated, just keep doing it. Just keep practicing until you can get your natural braiding the way you would go naturally, nice and neat and nice and tight. Okay? Try that. And then I'm going to show the French braid. The Dutch braid, sorry. So, the Dutch braid is done exactly the same, only putting the hair underneath. When I first started braiding, my natural tendency was to go to the French braid, the one that I just did. That was very easy for me. But when I wanted to add hair, the colorful extensions I shared earlier, I couldn't do it with the underneath braid. So I had to learn how to do the over braid, the Dutch braid. So again, you're taking the 3 sections, right? And then go opposite. So you're putting it underneath. So again, I take that section, I start my braid, and then I add hair to the head, to the braid. When I connect it to the head, after I take my first section, so I take my section over, I have the tension that I want, and then I add some and connect it to the head. And you'll see that it's already starting to be on top. Nice and neat. Now, since I really had to practice this one, this was so unnatural for me, so difficult for me, that I said, okay, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to practice this every day. And I did it at least once a day. And I did it so much that this is the one that I go to my first shot. You know, naturally, if I go to braid, I go on the top. I really like having both options, and I like being able to do both because you can really, if you're doing your pictures on Instagram, you did a really cool color. If you throw a braid into it, it changes the whole picture, and you could keep using the same pictures that, you know, the same colors you've done or the same work you've done, but you could showcase it in different ways. And you just continue, put the braid over, connect it to the head, braid over, strand over, connect it to the head, strand over, connect it to the head, and then you just continue down. So, and here you have the French. So, I suggest that you first pause the video, see which one you go to naturally. Practice that a couple of times until you get it neat. Then try the opposite. I know you'll probably get frustrated. We all do. But don't give up. Keep trying. And if you get it really, really good, sometimes you'll get it really good, the next time it won't be great. But practice. Practice going back and forth and really trying to get the both of them neat. Okay? So, nice and neat.